All right, so we're at a part 2. The first part was the first quadrant up there. I'm going to try and do the rest of this really quickly because the rest of this is pretty quick. So we're going to take a look at the domains and the ranges. So the domain on this, on anything that we're talking about, is always the x coordinates, and then the y is the range. So we're going to just put x kind of right here so you can see what that is, and the y is right here. So when I'm looking at my x coordinates, I see that my x coordinates start here at 0. 0, 0 is where this graph is beginning. So we're assuming that this graph starts at 0. And you can see that there's an arrow at the end of this, which means that it extends forever and ever and ever, which means that my x value can equal 0 because it started at 0. And then it is bigger, or can be bigger, and will continue to be bigger than 0. So it is equal to 0 or extends on and can be anything above 0. Now when I'm writing the domain, I want to write this, there's the inequality statement, and I'm going to do this in interval notation form, which means that I am starting at 0, and it includes 0, so we put a hard bracket right there. And then this is going to continue on and on, right, forever and ever. So we're going to put an infinity symbol here for this part. And then anytime we have infinity, we put a parentheses around the end of it, or on either side of it, depending upon which one it's starting with, whether it's negative infinity or positive infinity, because it's never actually physically stopping. Now we're doing the range, we're talking about the y values. Now the y starts down here at 2,500. It does not go below that. So our y values for this would be y can equal 2,500 since it did equal 2,500, or it can continue on and on and on forever and ever and ever. So there's no stopping point on this one either. So this one's hard start, hard bracket here at 2,500, and also is an infinity because it never stops. So we have a parentheses around the end of that, and that's how you do your interval notation for that one. Now, if I wanted to make a table with 4 pairs of data, I'm just using these 4 points that I have already set up. So my x values can get substituted in as 0, 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to use the equation up here to plug those values in. So if I plug in 0 for x, I'm going to have 0 times 125, and then I'm going to add 2,500, and that's going to give me 2,500. Now I'm going to do the same thing, and actually, as you can see, I'm going to just zip this back here. We've got, I don't know what's going on with my stand here. We have 1, so if I do 2,500, and then I do plus the 125 times 1, which obviously is just going to be 125, we're going to end up with a total value on that one of 2625. Now, when I go ahead and substitute in 2 times 125 is going to give me 250, plus the 2,500 I started with is going to give me 2,750. And then my last value there that you can see, I have 3. So 125 times 3, and that's going to give me 375, plus that 2,500 I started with, which is 2,875. And just so you know, you can use any 4 points that you want. I chose those ones just because they were the easiest. And now I'm going to bring it over here to this last portion. So when it says f of 9, it just means that your 9 is being substituted into this equation up here that we did, which is the same thing as this. So these are the same thing, just showing you that this is a function. So we're just going to pop in x with the number 9,